Hey guys, so I'm very excited. This is my review of Insurgent by Veronica Roth. This is the second book in the Divergent trilogy. First book is Divergent, obviously. If you haven't read Divergent, I encourage you to do so, and if you don't like it at first, keep going. I promise it picks up and it gets better. And if you still don't like it by the end, you need to read Insurgent. And if you don't like Insurgent, see a doctor immediately. But if you have not read Divergent, you should not watch this video because there are spoilers. So Insurgent picks up right where Divergent left off. Tris, Tobias, Peter, and Marcus are on the train to the Amity headquarters, and I don't know really how to give a summary. Things happen. Obviously, we found out at the end of Divergent that there's some information, some files that Janine Matthews is hiding, and there's just a lot going on, and if you've read Insurgent, you have a better understanding, but I don't know how to explain. Obviously, my strong point is not summarizing. So one of the first things that I noticed about Insurgent was that there was not a lot of recapping. And of course I read Divergent back in January, so I didn't remember a lot of the characters specifically. I didn't remember exactly what was going on. If you had this problem too, there's a blog post that Veronica Roth did that is like a guide to everything that happened at the end of Divergent and all the characters and who they are and where they are. So that was very helpful. I had to refer to it a lot, so it was nice to have that, but there was definitely not a lot of recapping because Veronica Roth thought it would interfere with her writing style, and yeah, it worked out well. So overall, I think Insurgent was totally different from Divergent in like every single way. There's more going all over the place and things happening left and right, and just more craziness. Kind of reminded me of how the Death Cure was so different from the Maze Runner in the Scorch Trials, and how there was one destination in the first two for that, and in the Death Cure it was all over the place and crazy. Insurgent was like that, and I actually think in this case it was a whole lot better. It was exciting, but it was kind of slowed down at the same time. For a little bit of it, I felt like I was being stalled, and it was very suspenseful and very good. In a good way, I was being stalled. For me, when it got really, really intense and interesting was when she went to the Erudite headquarters and like turned herself in, and it was like I mean, the whole thing was like interesting, but that was just like a step up, and everything that happened after that, I felt like Tris and Tobias lacked chemistry. I felt like they needed to put the romantics on hold, partially because everything that happened they got in an argument over, and partially because there's way too much going on at the time. And there's really no time for all of this romantic stuff. But Tris kind of needs someone to be there for her. I get it. She has been through so much. You know, she puts up a brave facade, but she's pretty much dying on the inside from guilt. She's tired of everything going on, and no one else can see that because no one else knows that she has like this emotion, like she's a person. Who knew? Everyone else just thinks she's being reckless and selfish, and they're mad at her for what she did to Will. We can see it from her point of view, how everything, it's heartbreaking. And about what I said before of how Tris and Tobias like lacked chemistry, it wasn't so much that they lacked chemistry, it was just that at the time, like, it wasn't really, there was just too much else going on for that to even be involved in the plot, even though it was nice and subtle put in the background. I don't think it was a flaw on Veronica Roth's part. I think it was great in the writing. Like, it's not a thing that I would have taken out, because really, I love the writing and the writing style. It might just be the most poetic and captivating writing I have ever seen. This might sound weird, but there's a lot of great quotes and sentences that go through Tris's head. It gives us a better understanding of her interpretation of the situation. Grief is not as heavy as guilt, but it takes more away from you. Just stuff like that. And we can see how Tris is divergent. Like, we can tell how she has the aptitudes for erudite, dauntless, and abnegation. We can see her selflessness and her bravery, how she's willing to sacrifice herself in almost any situation for anyone. We see her intelligence and how she can analyze the situations and people's behaviors. She's very smart without realizing it. She's very human, unlike everyone else who is just one specific, they're kind, or they're selfless, or they're brave. She's all of them. And Veronica Roth sure knows how to keep us on our toes and flipping pages. This one night where I stayed up relatively late for me and realized that I had just gone through 100 pages, so that's not normal for me. And about 70% of the way through, something is introduced. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it was something that I was wondering kind of in the back of my head, but I knew that it wasn't really an issue for them at the time, and then they introduced it, and I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's what's outside the gate of Chicago, and their land, and it's very, I think it's going to play a very big part in book 3, especially with what we found out at the end. Every character seemed to change and grow on me in a way that they never did in Divergent. I think Veronica Roth is very talented, and she definitely became much more talented over the year between Divergent and Insurgent. Speaking of between Divergent and Insurgent, did anyone else notice that in Divergent, Tori's brother's name was Georgie, and in Insurgent his name was Jonathan Wu? Just gonna try and overlook that, but it's so weird. I tweeted about it, and some of you came up with some suggestions. I don't know. In fall 2013, are we being serious, Veronica Roth? Just thinking that it's over a year away, and I won't be able to read the next one, it kills me. Really, sometimes I just want to go into an author's apartment and be like, ignore me and write faster or something, I don't know. So stepping back, Divergent doesn't seem that great. I mean, Insurgent is about 20 times better, more action-packed, way more character development, more excitement. I almost wish that compared to this, I would have given Divergent 4 stars instead of 5, because it is nothing compared to Insurgent. That's how good it is. She outdid herself. Wow. So I also mentioned in a previous video of mine what the third tagline would be. In Divergent, it is one choice can transform you, and in Insurgent, it's one choice can destroy you. My favorite suggestion that you guys left in the comments was one choice can save you. And a suggestion for the title of book 3 was Belligerent, and I do think that might actually be a possibility because, I don't know, it would make sense. One choice can save you, Belligerent. Although it's a very odd word, it would fit. As long as it's not called detergent or pansy cake. Detergent. Who came up with that? So I'm going to give Insurgent by Veronica Roth 5 out of 5 stars. Of course. So yeah. So I should have a new video up for you guys about in the next day or so, catching up. So I will see you guys later. Bye.